The next question concerns the waterfront. I'm going to start with the slate on my right. One of the few things everyone agrees on is that we'd all like to see a park on the waterfront. There are many state funds available for parkland and green space. What is your plan to get us some of those funds?
Well, in fact, we already have some of those funds. And we have implementation funds from the Department of State to begin to plan those parks and to create zoning that will allow for those parks. So some of that money actually does already exist. We need, I believe, to keep working with the state, get the LWRP moving, and more pots of money will probably open to us. We need to work with the county as well, because they've been an incredible source of funds for purchasing open space. I think we all can agree that a park is a really important element of the waterfront. But there are other kinds of public spaces we need to think about as well. Things that can actually provide, places that can provide community gathering places, performance spaces, community facilities, basketball courts, an esplanade and trail along the waterfront. So there are lots of things that we, I think, as a community would like to enjoy on the waterfront. And these are things that we should start to plan immediately. Because while ARCO is remediating that incredibly contaminated site, they also can be building in the infrastructure and public spaces, streets, esplanades, that we would like to see. This is a great opportunity, and we should not delay. This is something that we should be addressing in the next year.
Thank you. It's your turn.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Yes, I think we always want to look for grants and funding. The Greenway funding has been helping us, but we're a little concerned that it's going to be folded into the state. They're going to be eliminating some of these things, so we need to be ever vigilant to see what is going to be left for us where we can actually find grants. Unfortunately, the LWRP, as it is written, requests that the village provide $24 million for things like the infrastructure and the parks. The developer, however, if you read it, only has to provide $21 million. So there is a shortfall here of about $3 million, of which we are very concerned. And we know that the LWRP, what it has said is that they're going to try to minimize the losses, but I don't think that's good enough. So we can't minimize losses. We need to find ways to bring money in so that we are net revenue positive. Because if we start out that way on the waterfront with this LWRP, then over time, no matter who it is, everybody asks for reduction in taxes, and we are already going downhill. So I would have to say that we're going to need to find things on the waterfront that are going to bring money in and where we spend less money. This is an important thing for us to look at. The parks are very important for us. We will have them, but we will have to spend money to make them work. As far as infrastructure on the waterfront, we can't do anything about the infrastructure until we know exactly what it is we want down there, because we won't know where to put the infrastructure. So I think we need to work with that first and to look over the LWRP and to start looking at how we can decide what it is we want to build down there, and we need to do that in conjunction with the comprehensive plan.
Thank you.
I'd like to say that the financial analysis that was done in the LWRP was of the plan that the community came up with 8 years ago. It's part of the RPA redevelopment plan. And the RPA planners actually looked at the various kinds of uses and development options that we had all discussed as a community at the 2 waterfront workshops that were held then, and simply came up with a pro forma of what these things would cost. Now, I agree. I think that we have to look at this again, but this is 8 years down the road, and I don't think we even know exactly what uses the market's going to be looking for then. The feasibility study that was done then is certainly 8 years old, but doing one now will be 8 years old when they start to develop the waterfront. I think at this point, we have to be open-minded and think about the things that we want as a community, but not decide specifically on the uses.
Thank you. Would you like to rebut?
Yes, the RPA plan that was presented to us came with a plan that we need to mirror whatever we have in the village down on the waterfront. This plan was presented recently to Irvington, and they turned it down flat. We don't need to mirror things that are down on the waterfront. We were given that option when we were presented with the plan from the RPA, but we're not given any alternatives. We realize, and Irvington realizes, that this is not something that is workable. We need to find things that are going to benefit our village, that are going to complement us, and are going to be able to give us a revenue positive tax base so that we can be sustainable instead of being in the negative. We need to think about all of these things. And so, although we had the RPA Regional Planning Association with their plan, we need to definitely look at it much differently today. As I said before, we need to have somebody come down and evaluate it.